filmed down in Midland.
Oh, Waltz.
Waltz Across Texas. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Right, so
Yeah.
All right,
I've been all over
Bobbie, let's take this in
Okay.
5, okay?
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, I have to tell you that just based on the people I work with, that you guys are #1.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
Because you have such loyal fans among our station viewers, so I'm sure that's you know, escalated throughout the country. But Josh, I'll start with you because you left and then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you left, was that something that you just said, it's time, guys, I want to do something else?
Yeah, it was time to take a break. I had just done a nighttime series and Days of Our Lives all at the same time, and when Riker didn't go, I was still on Days of Our Lives, and I said, well, and I wasn't real satisfied with my storyline at the time, so I said, well, I think it's time to take a little break here. And then I also had a movie to do, which I did down in Midland, Texas. So I said, okay, time out, let's take a sabbatical here. And went down, did the film down in Midland, had a great time. And Days kept kind of coming back and throwing hints in every so often. And finally they threw out the right hints. And so I said, well, okay, let's go back. And got a very nice situation and worked out real well. So I said, okay.
What is it you like better about Chris now?
Oh, I still have my frustrations at times about the storylines, but I thought that they had reached a point where sometimes, you know, he had started out so macho and passionate and this, and then you'll do a scene that's maybe soft or sensitive or whatever, and then I'll say, oh, great, he does these well, let's give him 25 to do like this. And I thought that they had gotten him to a point where all he did was take care of everybody else's problems and had none of his own to deal with. So when I came back was right during when my brother was the Salem Strangler and all that, so it gave me something to work with. But I'd like to try to keep them from falling into those traps again.
How do you feel, Josh, about, and almost all of the soaps do it now, bring in really big stars and, you know, throw all the focus and the spotlight on them for a period of time? How do you feel about that?
I think it's hype. You know, I think it's just, and that seems to be the kind of world we live in these days. I think it's very unnecessary. I think soaps far and away carry themselves as themselves, and I think sometimes it gets in the way, to be real honest with you. I think the Elizabeth Taylor thing was a good example of that. I think they hyped that to such a peak that GH has never been able to follow it since, because they spent all their hype time on that. I think that it's unnecessary, and like I said, it can get in the way unless it's done right. Now, we used Al Jarreau, you know, on our show, but it was done within the context of Al Jarreau during a concert. So in that frame, I think you can get by with it.
Melonie, let's get you into the conversation. Do you have anything to add to that about bringing in these superstars or just well-known guest stars?
I recently just started on Days of Our Lives, and so I haven't really seen, you know, too much of it. It's my first soap opera that I've worked on, and I'm just enjoying working on it.
Besides, I think I just got us enough trouble for both of us, so she's going to dodge that question.
Melonie, have you ever been a soap fan of any particular serial?
I've watched, not any particular one before I started, but I'm really glad to be working on Days. I feel like they have one of the best casts, so I'm really happy to be working with good actors.
Your character now, how would you define her?
Well, she started, originally I just started as one-dimensional tough girl, you know, from Four Family, and I had an attitude, and now they've opened it up. Now it seems like now I'm so vulnerable I'll fall apart at any second, so there's a strong dichotomy there. I'm either tough or vulnerable, but at least it gives me a lot to play with, and I like that. And hopefully there'll be more growth within that. So I'm enjoying doing the character. There's a lot to work with.
I think Melonie's character has that kind of feistiness and has that vulnerability that she's put into it that makes it fascinating. Sometimes I get hung up on one quality and won't let you do the other quality, which kind of answers the question of what I said a little while ago, too. But you get frustrated sometimes doing the same quality.
Why do you think you were cast in this role? Did they see something in you personally, or what?
I would think so. As an actress, I knew I brought to the character, I think, what I generally thought, generally what they told me, that she was a tough girl, you know, and I thought to show the other side of that would be interesting, and so I suppose to see both was what they cast me for, because I was able to bring the other side too. So.
Is this something you could be happy doing for 3, 4, 5 years?
If there is growth within the character, absolutely. I see, as long as there's changes within the character, I'd be happy. You know.
The difference between doing a character on a daytime and a nighttime show. On a daytime show, it's not the same character all the time. You are constantly going through changes, so you are doing different situations all the time. Whereas on a nighttime show, I can see where maybe after a few years it might get a little tired, because you are doing
The same thing.
the Fonz for 10 years, or you are doing, you know, the same character for 10 years.
Well, listen, it's been fun talking with both of you,
Thank
and
you.
continued good luck to you and to Days of Our Lives, and Melonie, especially to you, the newcomer.
Thank
Hope
you.
that you get lots of fans. Thank
Thanks.
you both.
Thank you, Bobbie. She's got one big one here.
Thank you both.
Okay, let's
These are the Josh Taylor, Melonie Mazman questions. Josh, why did you leave Days of Our Lives in the first place? Did you leave originally because you just thought, okay, time to do something else? How do you feel about the soap operas that bring in big names for guest appearances? What is your character, Tess, like? If this all works out, will you be happy to stay 3, 4, 5 years in this series?